Hi everyone, it's James. Nice to see you. Welcome. Today we're starting the English for Negotiations series that you all voted for in on LinkedIn. And so this is part one. We're going to talk about vocabulary and first conditionals. And this is specifically for pharmaceutical sales professionals and marketers who want to improve their English to develop their careers. So as you can see, this is the YouTube series version. And so let's get started. Okay. Right. So first we're going to start with vocabulary in context. So we're going to read a paragraph together. And I would like you to listen carefully to me when I read it and repeat after me. This is a kind of shadowing activity. So you can try to work on your pronunciation and your reading skills together. This is really good exercise. So let's get started. Right. So imagine this scenario. Remember to repeat after me, okay? You are meeting with the purchasing manager of a pharmacy chain to negotiate an order for your company's new pain relief medication. You present a strong proposal to supply 5,000 units per month, but the purchasing manager makes a counteroffer suggesting that they will only commit to 2,000 units initially. To close the deal, you may need to make a concession on pricing or delivery terms to reach a win-win solution. Once you reach an agreement, you'll need to draw up a formal contract outlining the terms of the supply. Okay, so let's go take a look at some of our vocabulary for the session today. Right, the first one is proposal. Please say it with me, proposal. Good. All right, so a proposal is a plan or a suggestion that's put forward for consideration. For example, I made a proposal to my manager that we should target X, Y, and Z clinic. Proposal. It's like a suggestion, a business suggestion. A counteroffer. Say it with me, counteroffer. Very good. A counteroffer is a response to a proposal with a different suggestion. So if I make an offer to my client or my doctor or a pharmacy I'm working with, they might make a new offer back to me, right? Just like we saw in the reading, we suggested 5,000 units, but they counter-offered with 2,000 units. Okay. Next is a concession. Let's say it together. Concession. Right. A concession is something you agree to give up in a negotiation. It's like a compromise. If I want 5,000 units and you only want 2,000 units, I might agree on 3,500 units as a concession. Okay, a concession. Next, win-win. So a win-win situation is a situation where both sides benefit. So both sides must be happy for it to be a win-win situation. And finally, we have draw up. Draw up is a phrasal verb, and it means to prepare and write a formal contract. An example of this might be to draw up the contract, right? Or to draw up the agreement documents. Yeah, it is to formally write a document. Okay, so that's our vocabulary for today. I hope that you can take some time to review this and make sure that you can not only know the meaning of these words, but also use them in your work life. Right, next we're going to look at some phrases that are useful in negotiations. So let's look at these. Please repeat with me. If you agree to X, we can offer Y. So if you can agree to this term or this offer, we can offer this additional benefit. Okay. Or what if we meet halfway? So halfway is like a compromise. Maybe both sides have to make concessions to meet halfway. So to meet halfway means to meet somewhere in the middle. If I want 5,000 units and you want 2,000 units, to meet halfway might be to agree around 3,500 units. Next one, we're open to discussing other terms. Yeah, this means that you're open to discussing other topics related to the deal that you're trying to make. Or you can say, if we X, would you consider Y? So this means if we do this, if we make this concession, for example, would you consider doing this? Okay. Would you consider increasing this offer, for example? So we might say, if we offer free delivery, would you consider paying the full amount today? Next, let's find a solution that works for both of us. Let's find a solution that works for both of us. This means let's find a win-win situation, okay, where both of us are happy with the outcome. And finally, I'm sure that we can find a middle ground on this issue. So middle ground is very much like meeting halfway or compromising, okay? I'm sure we can find a middle ground on this issue. So later in the session, we're going to look at some role plays. So I hope that you can try to practice some of these phrases in the role play. Okay, they are very useful phrases to incorporate into your English language for negotiations. Okay, moving on, let's look at some idioms, right? Idioms are sometimes a little challenging for English language learners. So let's look at some useful idioms in negotiations. Firstly, the ball is in your court. Say it with me. The ball is in your court. This means it's your turn to make a decision, right? So I might say to the pharmacy manager, okay, I can offer you 4,000 units. Now the ball is in your court. It means it's your turn to decide if you will accept or not. Okay. Next, bargain basement price. This is a very low price, right? If you get to the lowest price you're willing to offer, you might call that a bargain basement price. And then finally, to meet halfway, as we discussed, that means to compromise, to meet in the middle, right? In the middle of what you want and what I want, okay? All right, so it would be really great and good practice for you to make some sentences for yourself using these idioms so that you can be ready to use them when you need them in your work life. Okay, now we've looked at some vocabulary, some phrases, and also we've looked at some idioms. Finally, let's look at the grammar for today. And we've talked about the first conditional. And the first conditional is used for real or likely situations. And it has two parts. It has an if clause, which normally starts with if, or you can use when instead of if, plus the present simple verb. And the second part of the sentence will be will, the future with will, and the base verb. So let's look at an example. If you commit to ordering 5,000 units, we will offer a 10% discount. Or if you pay today, we will offer free delivery. Okay, so if you do something in the present, we will do something in the future. Okay, and this is useful in negotiations because you make an offer with a condition. And if the other person accepts the condition, well, hopefully then you have a win-win situation. Okay, right, so now we can move on to our role play scenario. And for the role play scenario, this is what we practiced in the PharmaSpeak community when we did the session. And so the scenario is you are a pharmaceutical sales representative meeting with Dr. Ahmed, a cardiologist, to discuss prescribing your new cholesterol-lowering medication. So the details for you, the sales rep, is the product name is CardioPro. The key selling points is that it gives faster reduction of cholesterol levels and fewer side effects compared to its competitors. So a good cholesterol-lowering medication, right? The goal is to convince Dr. Ahmed to prescribe CardioPro to 10 of his patients. You can offer some support of a trial, means that you can offer some samples to the doctor for his patients, and also you can offer a support program to explain the benefits of CardioPro. Finally, the price is 13 per unit, 15 per unit. Okay. All right. So the details for the doctor, the current medication he uses is a competitor drug that's $12 per unit. Okay. He prefers to start with 3 patients and not 10 so that he can assess the safety and efficacy first. And he needs strong clinical evidence and clear patient benefits to justify switching the medication. Okay, so this is what you have to keep in mind in the role play. All right, so what I would like you to do for homework, I would like you to write down your suggested approach to Dr. Ahmed and what you would say in order to help him to use your product at least on 10 patients. Okay, maybe you need to make some concessions. all right, to ask him for 5 or 7 patients. And you can, what would be a very good idea is to use ChatGPT or another AI chatbot to practice the negotiation. So if you explain this role play to the AI and you ask it to role play the situation as Dr. Ahmed, it will be really good way to practice this role play. Okay, so everybody, today we went over the first part of our English for negotiations in pharmaceutical sales and marketing. We looked at the vocabulary, some useful phrases, we looked at some idioms and some grammar, and we put this all together into our role play. So please take some time to practice this. You can take a screenshot of this image and then use it with ChatGPT to practice your English. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it, and please feel free to write your comments and how the role play practice went, and if you're able to do a good job and convince Dr. Ahmed to give you some patients for your new product. Okay, all right, everyone. So the details for the PharmaSpeak community will be in the video description. So we'd love to see you in the community if you'd like to give it a try. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And yeah, you're welcome also to chat with us on LinkedIn as well. But for now, that's it. And we'll see you next time for part 2. Okay, see you next time. Bye. Okay, so if you want to try and use this role play with ChatGPT, let me show you how we can do that. So I've written a prompt that you can paste directly into ChatGPT, and it's in the description of the video. So you just click here and you copy the prompt. It's basically telling ChatGPT that you want to practice a role play, and it includes all the detail from our role play in the lesson. And the way the role play will start is by you saying, "Hello, Dr. Ahmed," in the voice mode. Okay, so I'm going to send the prompt to ChatGPT and let's see what happens. Okay, so there we can see that ChatGPT understands the prompt, and we'll wait for us to start with saying, "Hello, Dr. Ahmed." Okay, so let's go into voice mode and give it a try. Hello, Dr. Ahmed. It's very nice to see you again, Dr. Ahmed. I would like to speak to you again about CardioPro, if that's okay. Yes, so CardioPro is an antihypertensive. It's a new product on the market, and we're really excited about the results that it's getting for patients who are using it. Have you ever tried CardioPro before? Well, the data is really good. The clinical trials that have been done are showing at least 20 to 30% fewer hospitalizations on CardioPro as opposed to some of the leading competitors. CardioPro is really well tolerated. In fact, has a cleaner side effect profile as well compared to other medications. And so I think it's a really good option for patients, especially if they're not responding to traditional treatments. Yes, of course, and we'd appreciate you giving the product a try. How many patients do you think would be good to get started with CardioPro? Doctor, that would be really great. I would like to suggest maybe a slightly higher number to start, just so that you can get a better sample size to see the results that you are getting. If you could start with 10 patients, I think that will give you a good opportunity to see the results. Yes, doctor, that will be great. How about you meet me halfway, and maybe it would be a win-win situation if we started with 6 patients. What do you think? Thank you, doctor, and thank you once again for your support. Okay, so that's how the role play could go. And of course, the ChatGPT will also give you some feedback on your English as well. Don't worry if it's uncomfortable or difficult, or you feel like you're not able to say things the way you want to. This is part of the practice. And by doing this and exposing yourself to this kind of challenge, you will definitely improve.